Welcome back to our channel or to our podcast, wherever you are listening or watching us from. And today we've had our first guest, girls.
Woo! Finally, I got a guest.
And what a guest that was, right?
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, I actually enjoyed it with all my heart. That was super cool. What
It
was
was
it?
amazing.
Great.
Actually, didn't expect it to go so well.
I learned so much about what about Indonesian culture.
Hmm.
It's actually something exotic for me. You know, I like exotic things,
Mm-hmm.
exotic languages as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing.
Definitely. I really enjoyed Yulia coming to our place.
Yeah. And also, when another person answers your questions, you also start asking yourself the same questions and learn something
Hmm.
about yourself. And so, yeah, it was real a good, friendly vibe.
And I hope you will be enjoying that too. So keep it going and see how it worked for all of us.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of our podcast where language enthusiasts talk about learning and stuff.
It's three of us here.
I'm Zoya.
I'm Taya.
And I'm Ksusha.
In this chaotic world, we're all in need of safe space to speak one's mind, laugh, and enjoy life.
Because that's the only way to stay sane while
Zooming
through.
chaos.
Hello.
Hi.
How are
Hi,
you doing, Yulia?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed listening to your podcast. I've been listening to some of them back to back. It feels like I've been having conversations with the friends over something, like talking about things that we enjoy. So you ladies are doing a fabulous job. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah,
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's an honor, actually. Really, really an honor. Thank you. How are you doing? How is the weather like at your place?
in my place, it's pretty much the same. I'm now in Indonesia, so it's like sunny, warm, like plus 28. I enjoy the weather here. I love this. Yeah, wearing, like summer dresses makes me so happy. Like, why wear anything else if you could just wear summer dresses? What about you, ladies? How's the weather in your place?
The opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
As we're
like
all
the-
wearing sweaters,
Yeah.
warm stuff.
It's
So
pretty chilly.
yeah.
So yeah, gloomy, rainy, typical Russian autumn.
Okay.
But I'm happy about it, to be honest. As Yulia mentioned, she likes like wearing summer dresses and stuff. I feel naked if I'm wearing just a t-shirt leaving home. So I like layers, as now, for example. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any summer dresses left, so I'm actually pretty happy with the weather as well. I'm in front of my window and I actually see the rain. So yeah, that's it, basically.
Nordic ladies.
Okay. People ask me, "Do you miss rainy weather?" I'm like, "No."
But you're gonna have some, right? It's
Fair
gonna
enough.
be a rainy season.
Rainy season's coming soon. It's going to be my first rainy season here. I don't know what to expect, but people say, "Well, you get tired of rains," but to be honest, I don't mind. Whatever comes goes for me. So yeah,
Okay, as long as you can wear a summer dress, it's okay.
at least inside, yes. If I'm wearing a summer dress inside, this is what makes me happy.
You
So yeah,
trick your
that's
mind this way, right?
yeah, 100%.
I'm still in Indonesia. I can go outside without my umbrella, but yeah. Okay. And why are you there? Like business, pleasure, both, vacation?
Yeah, I would say I'm here to just enjoy life, in general. Like, I'm doing pretty much the same thing that I used to be doing when I lived in Russia. I mean, like teaching people, right? I study the language here, which is fun. I love this. Um, I enjoy traveling, seeing places around, just like living my best life, to be honest.
Oh, that sounds like a
Good for
dream.
you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That's actually one of our
Sincere.
catchphrases, yes.
So
Yeah,
what
it's
is
not
the
catchphrase.
language you're learning currently there?
Indonesian, and I know a couple of phrases in Balinese. And actually, this Thursday, I am going on an event which is called Bahasa Bali Breakfast. So I am hoping to pick some phrases up there. The languages are very different. And like Indonesian, to me, it was a surprise that it's actually used as lingua franca for people, because there are so many islands, like thousands thousands of islands here, and people use different languages everywhere. So Indonesian serves as a lingua franca, and people here, I mean, Balinese people, yeah, the local people, they use Balinese at home, so they don't converse using Bahasa Indonesia, which is fun. So there are like different languages, and sometimes they tell me I'm not at that level yet, like, but some people say who are experienced, like locals, they say you can clearly tell where the person is from based on their accent, based on how they speak Indonesian. So like there's subtle difference. Maybe it's not that subtle, but I'm not able to perceive it just yet. But yeah, it's fun.
Indonesian sounds like New English, to be honest, for Indonesia, as you can also tell where a person is from based on the kind of English they're using. So, fun.
Maybe it kind of sounds like that. And also Indonesian is very similar to Malay. I mean, Malay language. We went to Malaysia and we went to the cinema to watch the Oppenheimer, and they had Malay subtitles. I was like, wow, that's the same phrase as in Indonesian. I know this phrase too. This phrase sounds almost like the same phrase in Indonesian. Some phrases, of course, are very different, but like there is similarity between them. And Indonesian has been heavily influenced by Malay.
So basically, you have two for the price of one.
Yeah, that's what I was joking about. I remember, I felt this wave of excitement when I realized that I could use the same like greetings, the same thank yous and stuff. And I texted my family saying like, look, these are the phrases that I say in Indonesian and they are the same in Malay. I mean, probably not the same, but to me, they sounded pretty much like the same phrases.
Super, super.
So, can you kind of sum up what languages do you generally speak? We've heard of.
Good question. I speak Russian, English, and I speak a teeny tiny bit of Indonesian and a teeny tiny bit of Spanish. So I am very passionate about the language learning in general. I watched your podcast about being a language enthusiast, and I would identify myself as a language enthusiast just because I like learning the languages, not necessarily mastering the languages. I just love the process.
It actually was one of our questions. Do you consider yourself a language enthusiast? And you like cleared it up.
Yes,
I
thank
do.
you.
I do. I love languages. I appreciate the written word. I appreciate the spoken word. And, I do that. With English, it's a little bit different because it's like tightly connected with my like professional thing. Yeah, what I do for a living. So I need to like have a relatively good level. But with other languages, I just do that for fun, just for the sake of it, just for the sake of pleasure. And yeah, not mastering, not getting good at it, just like deriving the joy of being able to use a couple of phrases here, a couple of phrases there. I don't know. Do you ladies think that you need to master the language? Is it like the thing that you
To
should
be a language enthusiast?
in general?
Or just in general? No.
In general, no.
Well, it depends. If you need to do it, yes. Like for your job, for example, to be an English teacher. No, somebody. No, it's. I don't think so. No, as long as it's fun, you don't have to. I see.
We are actually like here a mix of all the different languages that we can speak or sometime tried to speak. And yeah, it's all about not mastering. It's about enjoying the ride as for me. So we're just doing that, yeah, for fun, just to feel that rush of excitement that you can say something and people will understand you. Oh my God, like someday maybe, I hope I will learn Japanese, but for now I just know a couple of phrases and it's like, oh my God, I can use them. So that's it.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Maybe
other
by that
hand,
time.
Daya knows Japanese, so she's learning that.
Knows.
For real one.
I'm
Just
learning
takes
it.
Yeah, that's the thing with the word no. It kind of sets unrealistic expectations. Know a language. Well, you can use a language. You can, operate in a language, but can you
Speak.
know it? Speak in a language, right? But this is a common collocation in both English and Russian, and I think it kind of sets the bar way too high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to know a language.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially in Russian, they come to me like, I want to know. And I'm like, you know what? Might not be
You'll never know.
possible. Yes. There are always surprises, even coming from
Yeah,
English after 20 plus years of studying it still.
yeah,
So,
that's true.
no.
Yeah, it's just about like there is no point where you know it's like 100%. For me, if you can speak that, you already know it. So
Yeah.
it's just like my way of saying speak. So
Mhm.
it's okay. So if I can speak even a couple of phrases, I can like introduce myself and say, I can say, I know the language. And all the, I don't know, all the European citizens that I met, they always say, I know Italian, German, French, and
Mhm.
stuff. And like, how much
They're
can you
not
speak?
shy.
Okay, yeah, I can introduce myself in Italian, so I know the Italian. It's like,
Mhm.
good for you.
Good for you,
So,
yes.
yeah,
I need their confidence.
that's the compliment.
I have a question, but I want to start from like far
Yeah, yeah,
away.
sure.
So anyways, as we're talking about that, you can know language, but still it's not a must. I guess learning a language is a kind of a relationship, but if you think about a relationship, any kind of relationship, romantic, friendship, whatever, you never know a person like 100%, right? You always learn something new. Even for us, we've been friends for some time before we started this podcast, and then there are surprises coming your way, good, bad, neutral, whatever. So, talking about relationship, is English your first love, or another language is your first love?
I don't really see it like that. I've never thought of that like that. English has been with me like a significant part of my life for a very long time, so it's kind of hard to imagine my life without it. So, yeah, it is very important. A lot of my identity is tied to English, a lot of my professional self esteem, my personal self worth is tied to my command of the language, I mean, of English. Um, I wouldn't say it's like romantic relationship necessarily. I see it more of a, I don't know how to describe it
Business
to be honest.
relationship,
Maybe a little bit of a business relationship. I
business
enjoy
exchange, basically.
basically, yeah, just exploiting it to the fullest. I don't know. For me, when I started learning English, it kind of started as like a little gateway from all of my like daily chores, just because my mom would let me watch something provided it's in English. So I would just watch series, videos, anything at all, and I would just sell it as English studies. So I kind of cheated the system. I felt like, so yeah, it was nice. Did a little bit of that, but then I really love learning the language, reading anything in English, watching stuff in English. So yeah, I wouldn't say like Spanish yet. This is the second language that I started learning when I studied at university. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, I had another like a fling with Spanish.
Mhm.
No, I just started learning it. Same with Indonesian. It's like I just started learning Indonesian. Maybe continuing this idea that you introduced, Zoe, about like languages being romantic partners, I think it can create a very twisted perception of me and my love life. How,
But no, I
but
said like any kind of relationship, friendship, whatever. I
yeah,
consider English to be my friend. It's always there for me.
okay, I see.
English to try to be a romantic partner. Let's just put it out there. Like French or Spanish, I guess, or
Okay,
other,
They're very passionate.
yeah, passionate
yeah.
languages. Well, again, everybody's different. Maybe you don't need a passionate partner. No
No.
judgment.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
very chill with my language partners. I love learning. I love spending time with them. Yeah, but it's not like, oh, I am passionate about language learning, but these just don't match in my head. But I see where you're coming from. You just spend so much time with the languages, so you kind of, start developing those feelings. Maybe I don't know. I'm not here to judge.
Now I'm sound twisted somehow. Okay. My question backfired, girls. You go.
So what's the business you are doing with your languages? How do you
Okay, that's
exploit
going
them?
darker and darker.
Under the
No, no,
covers.
no. No, I mean I train English teachers for a living. That's my like bread and butter, right? So
Why
I teach
teachers?
them.
Can I ask?
Sure. It started with like people, students, and then
And then it came to teachers somehow. I don't know
Why
why.
not people?
yeah, I mean, like just students, adults, kids, you name it. Just like general English courses, exam preparation courses, and stuff. And then at one point in my life, I started blogging about English language teaching. And eventually, I managed to create a platform that attracted a lot of teachers. And then I quit my job. I started my own business, and my clients, I tried to convert my followers who are teachers into my clients. So I started teaching teachers. And it kind of developed. I did a little bit of like teacher training in the school where I used to work. So I worked as assistant director of studies, which implied that I had to like observe lessons, conduct seminars. So I did like some teacher training even back there. And now being a self-employed teacher trainer, it's like a thing that I do all the time. So yeah, I English. Coming back to business that I do with my languages, it's English only. So I just use it as a tool to talk to teachers, to run my seminars, to conduct my trainings, to teach teachers English. Because well, you would agree with me here that even though they are teachers and they have excellent level of English, there is always something that they can learn. So I'm there to provide them with these learning opportunities. You know, like high level English and methodology. This is what I do. And for other languages, no business relation at all. Pleasure only.
I feel bad for English somehow, but okay.
How long did it take you to get from that initial point where you started developing your own business to that state that you're having now? How much time did it take?
If you think about like my teaching experience, I started teaching how many years ago? Goodness gracious, 11 years ago. And I started training teachers, let me think. So I've been doing that for 3 years here and like 4 years, like 7 years. So I've been self-employed since 2020. So 3-ish years. But yeah, I did a little bit of like educational academic management even back in the school where I used to work. So yeah, somewhere like 7-ish years of teacher training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have these extra skills of managing that made it possible to create such business that you have.
I would say that I lack management skills. And
Oh,
a lot of
really?
them I
saw the
do.
opposite.
Do you struggle when
Yeah,
you need to like
I
organize it?
do. Yes, I do. I find it very challenging. And Ksusha, by the way, is helping me out big time. Ksusha is my managing director. She helps me manage things. Uh, but yeah, it's tough for me. I'm used to thinking of myself as a teacher primarily, right? I identify as a teacher. And then when teacher training came into the scene, it made things a little bit more complicated because there is power dynamics. There are things which as an educational manager I had to do which were very new to me. There were a couple of skills I acquired, you know, like giving feedback on the lesson that I observed or conducting a seminar and making it stick with the teacher. So it's yes, a lot of new skills have been acquired, but it's tough. Managing your own business is no mean feat. There are a lot of things that, you know, I get bogged down with, but it's fun. In the long run, it's fun.
Actually, whatever Yulia mentioned actually kept me from being self-employed for some time because I only like started imagining, oh my god, I need to do this with the students myself instead of my
Mhm.
interest at language school or wherever, and like oh I don't wanna, and still I do also struggle. I don't have the business, but I am self-employed, and it takes a toll sometimes when you need to do things you don't want to do, you don't know how to do, or something else. Because I also firstly identify myself as a teacher, and then there is like this managerial whatever manager
Yeah,
stuff that you
business
need
side of
to.
things.
Yeah, so
So
yeah.
I want to ask you a question. Why do you say that you don't have a business? If you are self-employed, this is business.
Okay, a bit of psychological reflection over here. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, I wonder. But, you know, it was like a point of no return for me. Like a milestone when I realized what I'm doing right now as a self-employed teacher is actually business, because you
Yes,
do
I
find your own
agree.
clients, correct?
Yeah.
Um, I do,
Of course, we
but
use
still,
different means for that.
yeah, I think because in Russian, especially, we have different words for it. Like, as
Hmm.
far as I know, it's like entrepreneur is the
Right.
person who has a business. I'm not
Right.
an entrepreneur. I'm a self-employed person. So it's a bit
Like a
different. I can still
freelancer.
work. Yeah, thank you. I can still learn. I can still work for other people. So I don't mind it
Right.
if somebody, you know, oh my god, presents me with an opportunity to do so. I don't mind it. I can do it. But as far as I don't know, as far as I understand, if for example, you just work for yourself. That's it. It's like full stop.
Sometimes people invite me over and they tell me, Yulia, can you conduct a webinar for teachers working in our school? So I kind of do a little bit
But
of
it's more like
freelancing
it's
too.
like one time thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like a
But if
gig.
people, for example, hire me, it's gonna be like for a course or for longer or something. So as far as I understand, you don't want to do it anymore. Or maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't mind doing it. Like the longest course that I did was 9 weeks. So we had a 9 week course. I mean, in my, like solopreneur career. Um, the thing is, the reason why I became self employed is not because I wanted to grow my own business, but I just got to a point in my life where I felt like I'm fed up with working in school with all of the extra duties that I had to juggle. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something new.
And
Um,
I will just switch these extra duties for other extra duties and we'll juggle them.
all of these duties, they didn't, like really. How do I put that? It's not that I felt the burden of all of these duties at once. They start accumulating little by little. It all started with me just going online and saying, hey, I think I'm going to launch some groups. And then it all, started from there. People just started transferring money using my bank cards, and that's about it. And then gradually I started kind of, developing things, optimizing things and stuff. But I recently had an exchange with a very successful um, business owner, and she was like, "And what do you do?" We just met. You
Mm-hmm.
meet people all the time here, and she's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I have my own teacher training thing." And she's like, "Do you mean you have your own business?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, yes, I do have my own business." So it kind of felt like a pep talk she was giving to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, "Well, I'm actually self-employed. I do a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of that, a little bit of that." She's like, "Oh, you mean you have a business?" Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do. It felt good.
Okay, the stuff you try to do on me now. All right. I have and also it's a joke. Like, it's a joke, but Yulia, you don't have to sound so successful, okay? Because when you said like I just went online and told people I'm gonna launch some groups and they started transferring money. You know what? Some teachers struggle.
I
Can
know.
you please elaborate on
No.
this side that it's not always like this? You need to have
Yeah,
your base
that's
basic.
Yeah,
true.
like you
That's
need to
true.
have your audience, I would say. So you first build
Right.
the audience, and
Is it
then like
audience
you turn
though?
this audience into some actual clients. So I believe it like this. Yes, because I recently wrote the same post. It's like I'm launching groups, and I have zero things over there.
Yeah.
So
And then
yes,
it dawned on you that you're not Yulia, right? You're like, okay. And yeah, this is why Ty asked you, like, how long did it take you to, launch all of it?
Right.
And first, I guess you like grew, can I say, like, grew your audience or
Yeah.
something, or like prepared them for, like, guys, now I'm gonna do this. And they're like, oh, okay, let's do it. Right?
yeah.
Yes.
So
It
we
took
don't
years.
say that you are
No,
just
no, I
did it
get it.
like in the middle of nowhere. It's like out of the blue. But
Yeah.
no, yes, we understand that you put effort into that. You invested, and then it went to the groups and
Yes.
everything. And actually,
Joy, the fruit of my labor. Answering that question, like from my first post in my blog to my first client, it took me 3 years.
Oh my god.
thank
Thank
you
you
for
very
that.
much. We're gonna make
For
it. We're gonna
sharing.
make a short out of it for sure. Because blogging is hard. Like, I don't
It
do
is.
any. Do I? No, I don't. Yeah. So it's hard. And if you wanna, then, like, at the back of your mind, you're like, I'm gonna start blogging, but then I'm gonna maybe, like, sell something to these people. Like, which is okay, guys. We need to earn money to live. So yeah, it takes time. Now I guess it's much faster. But you said like in 2020. So now I guess it might take a year or Two, again, depends on situation, depends on a professional. So anyways,
But it's still like it's not in 1 minute
it's
between that.
not an
So yeah,
overnight
you
success.
need to grow to that. Yeah, for
True.
sure.
I don't know, now with things changing and like social media algorithm changing, and I think like a lot of people say right now, now it's weird. So yeah, of course it doesn't take like it takes a minute. I'm not gonna lie. I Before I made any money out of my blog, it was like good 3 years or something like that. But I come from a privileged position where I have a platform and the audience that trusts me. That's true. So yeah, but again, it takes years, long,
Yeah,
painful
and you need to pat
years.
yourself on the back for actually doing all of that for 3 years before it started. Yes,
Oh, to be honest,
Well, to be honest, it started in the pandemic, as far as I understand. We
you
had
mean my blog before that? No, I started my
before
blog in 2018.
18,
When
okay.
Yeah, when I got the position of like assistant director of studies, and I felt like I wanted to win my colleagues' trust and respect, and I started the blog to kind of prove them that I was the one to be listened to, because I had
Oh
like
my.
like some insecurities, some problems with like
Some overachiever stuff going
yeah,
on.
like managerial things were not my strong suit back then and are not my strong suit even now. So I was hoping that by the time I get 1,000 followers on my blog, it's gonna revolutionize everything. It didn't revolutionize anything,
it
but I just
revolutionized, but a little bit later and in the
later.
way that you could not expect. I would say
It's
like
true.
that.
It's true. So I was just hoping that it would just prove to my colleagues that, oh, look at her. She actually has something valuable to share. So yeah, I didn't do that because I wanted to earn money, because I had a full-time job which paid well. But it was about proving myself and others that, n- you see, not coming from a good place. It's not a very
No,
good inspirational
it's okay.
story.
It's totally okay because I can really relate. This is how I started learning English. It was also not from a good place. I actually envied a friend of mine who could speak English. I was like, okay, I can do that as well. Like, what if
Yeah.
it's so totally normal? Don't worry about that one.
That's
Yeah.
why you two get on well so well.
Yeah.
Because we don't go from a good place. Okay, get it.
No, that you're learning from your mistakes, I think. Because I guess you try not to do it the same way you used to.
Yeah, I would say so. I like to think that I'd like to think that I have changed and have grown as a person, but still, some things are there, and yeah, just like developing your blog, it doesn't happen overnight. It needs some time, a lot of work, a lot of dedication. But well, yeah, I would like to say that I have grown and become a better person. Yes.
Okay. Great. Let's circle back a bit, back to the foreign languages that you speak. So you
Right.
said that you have English, Spanish, and Indonesian. So the English you started to learn at school, I guess.
Right, correct. Even before school, I think it was kindergarten or something like that. Yeah.
So did you enjoy it from the start? Did you fall in love with like immediately, or was it some occasion, special one?
You know what? I don't really remember this budding sensation of love and fascination. I don't know why English, apart from other subjects, was relatively easy for me. So I could remember like big chunks of information in a foreign language, which I couldn't do with any other subject. So I would just it was just easier. And when it came to the crunch, like in the 10th grade, when people start asking you about the exams that you're about to take, I'm like, I guess I'm going to do something related to English, because there is nothing else that kind of tickles my fancy. This feels like something that I'm good at, so I might as well go that direction. I loved learning English, and I did learn a lot, and I'm very grateful to the school teacher that I had, which noticed, I don't want to say talent, but she noticed this inclination that I had. I don't know
Yeah, like you were
how to say
proud.
that.
Mhm.
Like
And
an
she kind
open
of
mindset of
right,
yours.
and she kind of facilitated growth. She would give me like extra tasks. She would arrange things like extra lessons for me and stuff like that. So yeah, it worked.
But
Because
still
she
sounds
know.
like Yulia was born a language enthusiast, to be honest.
I think
Like
so.
I could
Yes.
remember a chance. So like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Maybe could be true.
All
And
right.
what do
Okay.
you like about English, actually? What is the most interesting thing that interesting?
I feel like I'm a different person when I speak English because if I
Join
think
the
if we had
club.
this conversation, yeah, if we had this conversation in Russian, I would imagine it would pan out very differently. Um, I don't know. I think that my English speaking version is a little bit more polished, like fewer mistakes, less idiotic jokes. So things like
Damn
that.
it! I love them.
For me, it's
So
the
it's
opposite. Okay.
so yeah, so it's I love the fact that I can kind of switch between the two. It's fun. A legitimate excuse to have a split personality disorder.
Yes, yes, yes. This is my favorite
And
joke.
again, we're like not saying it's okay and good and you should have
No,
one. Just, disclaimer.
but it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, that's my favorite joke from the university years. That you may remember that's like the person who speaks a couple of languages has different personalities. Like he has split personality in their head because you kind of a bit change when you speak other language. So I would definitely say that I'm a bit different with Spanish and English and Russian for sure. Yes, but in Spanish I'm more upbeat and I don't know passionate or something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's actually a quote by Goethe, a German writer. um, you are as many personalities as many languages you speak, as
Oh, I
far
love
as
it.
I can translate it from
Recall.
German.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
the
yes.
thing. So,
I know. English just sounds fun. Doesn't it sound beautiful? I mean,
it
beautiful
does.
language. I love it.
People who don't understand it.
Are there people like
So
that?
difficult. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's tightly connected with the fact that people have to learn English,
Mm-hmm. I
and
had to go to
that
school.
burden really, like, yeah, hits off all the
Yeah.
possible love that can be there. So I believe that this necessity, this
Yeah, whenever
obligation.
I ask people like, well, like what about languages, and almost everybody says like, oh, French is so beautiful, Spanish is so beautiful. And I'm like, you're speaking English at the moment. What about English? No. And don't even start me when I like ask people about German. They're like, what? German, beautiful. I'm like, oh my God. For me, after English being beautiful, German is the second one. So yeah,
thank
yes.
you.
And I'm sorry, Spanish comes only in the third place.
Okay, I will.
You don't have to be sorry for that.
I will accept that. I will cry a bit after. I will accept that gracefully. All right, and coming back to Spanish. So you started to learn it. Why?
Because my university pushed me to pick a
Pushed
second
you.
language.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
I mean,
Pushed you.
I had no
Bad
choice.
people,
But like,
bad people.
as a foreign language major, you have to choose the second language, and I picked Spanish.
You're lucky if you can choose, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes you are just left with no alternatives, right? You're just
Yeah.
stuck with a
Exactly.
language.
Like the poor guy with an African language, which is spoken only in one
Yes, we
country.
discussed already. Yes. And what other languages were you choosing from? Do you remember?
German. Yeah, there was an option to choose German and Danish. And
Danish.
actually, yeah, a lot of people were like, I'm not learning Danish. Like, what's the point? But like, turns out students who studied Danish, they had so many exchange programs available, unlike
That's the point.
German or Spanish. And they were like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to spend 6 months in Denmark. I'm like, okay, good for you. So, but yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Okay. So why
So
did you
why did you
choose?
choose? Yeah, Spanish.
I
Why not
thought that
German?
why not German? That's a good question. Because I studied a little bit of Spanish. I think I attended like a crash course back in school, just like a couple of weeks. And we also studied Latin. Is that the way to pronounce it?
Oh
Yeah.
my,
Latin.
yes.
And I thought, okay, that would make things easier, which it didn't. But I thought I might as well do that because it's like kind of related. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Why did you choose the languages that you chose in university? What was the reason for your picks?
I actually chose Spanish because I fell in love with that. It's like, yeah, I had quite a big range that you can help me out, but we for sure had French, German, Spanish, Italian, some
Slavic languages.
Slavic languages. Yeah, so we had a
Okay.
pretty big range. But by the time I decided to go to university and I decided to have the bachelor degree in languages, I already started to watch in famous series Fisica or Química, which is like physics or chemistry, about Spanish teenagers, I guess, and all the fun that they are having there, which is impossible in Russia. Yeah, and I just fell in love with the sound of it. I really loved the sound, and I'm still in love with that. Whatever you say, Zoya, I'm
What?
feeling
What?
Spanish sounds great.
I'm
It
not
does,
saying
of
it
course.
doesn't sound great. I'm saying that other languages sound more great to me. That's it. Yeah, you see, Yulia, why we're asking these questions, like, what's your first love, whatever, because we all fell in love with the languages well, at least one of the languages, or all of
Yeah.
them that we
I mean,
learning.
I think it's pretty safe to say that, well, when you get to this level, it's indicative of your love of learning languages, no matter the language. Well, probably it's going to be your first
Mhm.
language that you're going to get to like a good level, a better level than other languages. However, I know a lot of people who successfully get to like C1, C2 in all the languages that they get their hands on. Not the case with me, but like I know that it's possible that you get like to the same level, right?
Hmm.
Didn't happen with me and Spanish, clearly, but still, I know that some people who managed to do that, and yeah, clearly, we all love learning the languages. We get the kick out of it, and I think, yeah, it's just okay. My first language, my first foreign language is English, Spanish, German, whatever, and you just roll with it.
Okay, I
Go.
just want to mention and want to make clear that when Yulia says that she can speak a little of Spanish, she is actually being very, very modest because she can speak not a bit of it. Yeah,
Okay,
it's not
maybe.
C1 for sure, but you can clearly express your
And it's
feeling.
not B2 for sure, and it's not B1 for sure, and it's not A2 for sure. So it's
Come
like
on, come on,
one-ish.
come on. You're
Yeah.
learning in the A2 group. It should be A2.
Well,
Should be.
A2-ish. A2-ish. Yes, that's true. What about you, Diazoy? How did you pick your second language? Was it the university? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I picked languages that I'm familiar with, and they are all
Mm,
German and English. And as an exotic like exception for that, I chose the third language, and it was a Slavic one, a Czech.
okay, cool.
And I fell in love with it too. But now I'm kind of not using it really, but I enjoyed the time when I was learning it. And I went to a language course to Prague, and it was amazing. So I
Nice.
love every language I speak, and I'm struggling now with the Japanese hieroglyphs because I'm striving now to go to Japan and to
Okay.
enjoy that culture to its fullest.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking about that. That language kind of serves as a key to open some things which are otherwise are not there to be accessed. You know, like when you have the language, you can kind of open this door and get your hands on some content in that language, which is fun. That's true.
Mhm.
yes, for sure,
Cool.
right?
It sounds like the languages that are not that popular get exchange programs somehow, because Danish and Czech, like, what about other
You
languages?
chose wrong.
You chose wrong.
No,
Mhm.
I chose between Bulgarian, Polish, and Czech.
Oh
Serbian,
my.
and Czech. So I
Oh,
chose Czech
you
because
chose
it's
right.
closer to German. I'm being on the safe side.
Hmm. Oh my
So
god.
it's a Slavic language, Czech, but there are many words that they got from German, like for example, Kuffer, and you have Koffer in
Koffer.
German,
Hmm.
yes, and it's a what is it in
Suitcase.
English? Suitcase, yes, a suitcase. So everyone was watching me like this. Where do you know that word from? It's a new word for us.
Not for me.
Mhm.
Learn German. Learn some German.
Right.
This is life hack I'm using with Spanish. So sometimes the Spanish word is really similar to English one. And I guess Yulia also is using this life hack during
Yeah,
lessons.
my secret to sounding A2 in Spanish is just use English words with my
Spanish
version of a
accent.
Spanish accent. Yes, that's
Sounds
what
like
it
a
was.
plan to me.
Yeah. Hmm. It works, you see. I trick people into thinking that I speak Spanish. No, I just pretend. I pretend. But yeah, that's fun. Zoe, what about
Yeah.
you? How did you choose your second language?
It's a fun story. I think I told it somewhere in our pod, but anyways, in nutshell, we only had to choose between German and French for our second foreign language, and we were terrified of a French teacher that we knew
Mm.
would teach us. Somehow we still ended up with her, but for another subject, anyways. But it was like we don't want to have her as our French teacher, and we chose German. And I again fell in love with the language. We had the best teacher. Taya is also the best German teacher I had, but it was my first best German teacher. Yeah, it was so fun, and because German and English are kind of similar still, yeah, it was kind of easy. It's like close to English and close to Russian because they have cases like we do in Russian, which we don't in English. So yeah, I just fell in love. But then for our third foreign language, we had no choice, and it was Spanish.
That's why I don't like it.
I was pushed, as Yulia mentioned. I was pushed. So yeah, it was also fun. Not really informative, but fun. And
Okay.
this is like my first impression of Spanish was like we were like singing songs and a bit of dancing even going on, and then not
Sure.
so much learning. It was very different from German.
This is the way Spaniards are learning the language.
Yeah, not
It's in the
my type of
culture.
learning, to be honest. I'm very German.
Nordic. Or
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. So yeah.
Okay, I see. I see. Cool, cool, cool.
All right, and we haven't talked about Indonesian. Tell us how you decided to go into that one, because it's
Right.
not that obvious for
It's not
every
a
person
must.
who's living.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
It's funny that you ask because I have a list of things, a list of reasons. I came prepared. Okay, so I have eight reasons.
Oh my.
Reason number one, reason number one, it gets me out. Okay, so
Mm.
I love meeting people, and then learning a language kind of gives me a platform to do that in a meaningful way, because the school where I study, they organize all sorts of festivals. Like I went to a poetry slam with them, I went to National Independence Day, I had a competition in public speaking, and it's all there because of the school. So if I didn't pursue classes there, I would miss out on those amazing opportunities. I also kind of met people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. I mean, like, for example, one of my group mates in the language school, he has his own business here. um, there's no way I'm going to casually meet businessmen on the street. It's not like something that, I mean, it's very unlikely that I would just establish this meaningful connection and bond over like common experience with a person who I have very little in common with, apart from learning Indonesian. So it's fun.
So I want
We,
to stress out
yeah,
here. So you're going to a school and you're having a group lessons. Yeah. So this is the way the platform is
I
working.
And
I
yeah,
did.
it's like offline classes.
It is an offline class, so I have to walk to school. And I did a crash course, which is like 40 hours, and it was a group class every day, 2 hours a day. So we did a little
Wow.
bit of that. At the end of this course, we went to the market where they gave us some money, a shopping list, and they told us, "This is your exam, so go and
Oh
buy
my
some stuff."
god.
It
Total
was so
immersion.
cool. This is so cool. I loved it. And then when the course was over, I was like kind of there on by myself because my group mates said, "Yeah, you know what? I feel like I'm going to take a break." And I understand why, because it's intense. Can you imagine, like 4 weeks every day, 2 hours a day?
Like every
People
day,
get
even the
tired.
weekends.
No, apart from Saturday and Sunday, but still, it's exhausting. I mean, this is a very intensive learning routine, especially if you took a break from your learning. Like if your last class that you took was like back in university, like 20 years ago, and then you do 40 hours of that, you're going to get tired very quickly. I just enjoyed every second of it, so I didn't mind like continuing, but everyone was like, "I'm taking a break. I think I'm going to take a break." So I continued doing one-to-one classes after that. So I've done, I think, 80 more hours of one-to-one, and I'm now on my, yeah, like I don't know, I lost count. I did 80 hours, more than 80 hours of one-to-one. So yeah.
Okay.
Still, I mingle with the students in the school. I mingle with the teachers. Like I invited them to my birthday party the other day, so it was
Oh,
fun.
so
So
sweet.
even I don't study within a group, I still get a chance to meet people, and just
It
communicate.
actually goes in line with what we discussed in the episode of moving, when it's like the emergent, what is it? Living in the language is not the key. And your example is actually showing that you are actually making effort. Yes, you're inviting
Yeah.
people, you're going there, you're going out there to find
Socializing, right?
opportunities.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Like my husband, yeah, he lives with me. He speaks a couple of phrases that he picked up from me. He's not making this effort, although we are in the same environment, quite literally the same freaking room. So
It's not judgmental. It's not making an effort.
yeah, I mean he has his own thing going on, but we all have different priorities, and I understand that learning a language requires time, energy, money as well. So yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
I,
and it's
Sure.
your choice anyways. So you choose to
yeah,
do that or not to do that for sure.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, true.
Okay, so come back to your list, please.
Yep.
What's
Yeah,
next?
like I volunteered at an event as an MC just because people who work in school invited me over. They took me on like a field trip. So it's fun. I saw so many things. I have seen so many things just because I attend lessons. So socializing, right? Number two, professional curiosity. I love that. Uh, this is my first experience of learning in a non-monolingual class. And because if you think about it, I've always taught English to speakers of Russian.
Of
So
course.
it's interesting to see how they approach things, like just curious. Also checking whether my teaching principles work with a language which is different from English, because Indonesian is very different from English. I mean,
Do
the
they?
structure of the language. Come again?
Do they? Do they work?
Yeah, they do work. The principles work. Yeah, like communicative language teaching works. Running with the student, not the book, talking about the things which matter to the students, using principles of lexical approach and not just like bombarding the student with grammar. It all works. It's pretty much the same. I don't know if it would work with languages like Japanese or Chinese or Korean, or Arabic for that matter, where they don't use the what do you call them? Help me out. Where the
Latin
Simple.
yeah, like
writing?
the symbols, the
Latin
writing, right?
symbols?
Right. Here you need to drill. I mean, like I would imagine with Japanese, that you would have to do a lot of drilling just to remember, just to like. That's what I thought. With Indonesians, I mean, writing in Indonesian is relatively simple. It's like a phonetic language. Whatever you hear, you just write it down, and chances are you're going to write the word. You're going to nail
A
that.
dream. Hmm.
Yeah, that's fun. And so yeah, checking the principles, and then also mingling with the teachers, just because, well, I asked them about, okay, so how does educational system structured in your country? What about the job of a teacher? What are the responsibilities that you have to do and stuff like that? So just like seeing if their teaching experience is different from my teaching experience, because back in the day when I used to work in a language school, it was pretty much the same language school, but like teaching monolingual classes and teaching English, not Bahasa Indonesia. But it's fun. So yeah, I just like it. I like the process of learning things. That's reason number three. Just the pleasure when I have to think, when I formulate a thought. Clumsy though it may seem, I still managed to get my idea across with little language I know. But it's fun. It kind of, you feel like, yes, I ticked off this box. I got myself understood. So I like it. Reason number four, it's respectful. And I don't know, people appreciate it. Makes such a big difference when you use the local language.
Oh,
Speaking
yes.
of which, that brings us to reason number five, which is validation. Ladies, no one applauds me when I speak English. No one says, wow,
For a long time now.
fabulous job. Yeah, no one is impressed that I'm speaking English. But there was the other.
But you want
I
to
have
be applauded, right? Like
I
you
mean,
make it
I
sound
think you
like
deserve that.
social validation is fun. I mean, like I remember we went to we were traveling in some area, and there was like a fancy hotel, and we wanted to see if there is like some place we can get food. We basically got lost, and the only place we could go was this hotel. And I was like, we were walking there, and they asked me in Indonesian, thinking that I wouldn't be able to answer. And they asked me like, "Where are you going?" And I tell them, "We want to eat. Is there a restaurant?" They're like, "Oh my god, you speak English! Let's get the golf cart and like transport you right to the restaurant." So I got this. I I was so happy. They
Like
appreciated my
shocking
mood so much.
people.
I like shocking people. I also like gave them 5 stars on my
Impressing.
taxi app. Yes, because I talk to taxi drivers and they tell me, "Fantastic, you get 5 stars from me." Because
Oh.
it's so much
Oh,
fun.
yes. So it's actually a profit, the benefit that you get there.
Incidental benefit. Yes, yes. It sounds like I'm a very vain person, but I mean, it feels nice when people praise you for the minimal effort that you were making. I mean, it feels good.
It does feel nice. I think it's like one of the reasons we all here speaking foreign languages, because it feels nice. Like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can
do
do
Again,
that.
wait a second. It feels nice, but nobody, as Yulia mentioned, nobody has ever applauded me for speaking English, and I basically only speak English. No, thank you. No pity applause, please. No pity applause. But no, I understand where you're coming from, and Yulia actually sounds like a student who asks lots of questions. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
mingling with the teachers and I'm mingling with the students. I'm like, oh my god. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I am very active. It's true.
You can see it.
Like some sort of a social butterfly. That's true. I like mingling with people, but yeah, generally I do, especially if it's like in a foreign language. My Russian speaking self is not that sociable. It's like
Ooh.
I'm just gonna lay in my bed forever.
But it's like a shield, right? You just feel more confident in a foreign language.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%.
Same.
Yes,
Wow.
that's true. It's true. So yeah, validation, respect. People appreciate it. People say thank you very much, and I think it also comes from, like, mm, I don't know, just looking back at history, of Indonesia, and now there are people who are actually making an effort and learning their language out of respect. I think it means a lot to people, and it's such a great language to learn. I absolutely love it. So yeah.
And I feel it's just in every country. If you come there and you live there, kind of exploit their culture a little bit, it's just respectful gesture to at least speak some phrases over there and give the favor back.
People appreciate it. I've noticed the difference it makes when you make an order in Indonesian, when you text people asking questions in Indonesian. It makes a big difference. And yeah, it shows. It shows. It's convenient because sometimes, I mean, when you travel somewhere, you can't expect people to learn to know the languages that you happen to know. Sometimes people don't speak the languages that you speak, and we found ourselves in a couple of situations when me being able to speak a little bit of Indonesian helped us. So I mean, it's just like pragmatically a nice thing to do. It challenges my perception about languages, because I don't know, ladies, if you would agree with me, but like we look at I think you would agree with me, because you kind of compare the languages that you subsequently learn through the with the language that you learned first. And I would do the same thing with like English. I would compare English to Indonesian, or Indonesian to Spanish, and I would think to myself, wow, that's an easy language to learn because there are no tenses. There are no tenses, no conjugations, and stuff like that. But then I thought to myself, well, why do I label it as easy? I'm so tied to this tense aspect, system that English has and Spanish has. And then I kind of label a language that doesn't have that as simple, when in reality, there are things which absolutely blow my mind. For example, in Indonesian, there are two pronouns for us. There is us, including all of us. So, like, for example, all of us are recording a podcast. And
Yeah.
then there is us, which includes you. For example, I can say, Ksusha and I had a Zoom call yesterday. And I would use, in English, I would still use us. And I would imagine in Spanish, you would still use, what would you use? Us.
Nosotros.
Nosotros for all the cases, right? German, I don't know about German. Is it the
Wir.
same?
Yeah.
So, and it's, if you think about it, it makes sense to have two pronouns for that, because it's two very different concepts. Us, all of us, or just us, a part of us, excluding the listener. And when I first, encountered this, it absolutely blew my mind that actually I need to take this into account And then it kind of dawned on me, how on earth would I call any language simple? I'm so used to seeing the language through the prism of tense, aspect, passive, and stuff, and then regular, irregular. But then I thought, no, this is the wrong way to see the language. So I love that it challenges my perception of the language that I'm learning, the language that I'm teaching, languages in general. So yeah, it's fun. And the last one is that it helps me, but I kind of talked about that. It kind of helps me to like unlock some of the content that would otherwise be locked for me, just because I know the language. I can listen to some music, I can read some things, I can watch some videos. Yeah, of course everything can be translated, but like it's like using a pry
That's
bar
fun.
at the door instead of the key, which kind of fits neatly and nicely into this little door. So yeah, of course you can access all sorts of things, but still being able to access it the way it was created, there is a certain a certain kick that I get out of it as well. So these are my reasons for learning
I
Indonesian.
actually really love the thought about kind of boxing the languages that you learn into the box of the first one that
Yeah.
you got. That's, I think it's the concept to think about, because I always compare Spanish to English, and I'm always fascinated when it fits in the same box, and I'm always surprised when it doesn't. So, yeah, that's actually a really, really interesting one.
It makes learning languages interesting because you don't face same stuff every time you learn a new language.
Right. That's true.
Amazing, exciting.
True.
And all the culture aspects of the language is also like a wow effect is always good.
Yeah, it's always there. That's true.
So we agree with you totally.
Yes, very nice reasons.
You're doing that from a good place.
This one, yes.
Finally.
unlike other things in life, yes, this is the one. But still, if you
It's
think
a
about
balance, always a balance.
no, if you think about it, like socializing and convenience, I don't know, it can be seen as egoistic, right? I mean, I'm doing that for my own
yourself?
purpose.
But I guess like everything we're doing in Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Something for me to talk with my therapist after our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I recorded a podcast with other teachers and now I'm depressed. Okay.
really recommend. That was a good experience.
Yeah. That's good. We are talking about things. If you think about it, language is like Ksusha, I think you said it on one of the podcasts. Like it's deeply intertwined with psychology, with the concept of self, and of course, when you kind of scratch beneath the surface, there's so much more than just talking about the languages. I mean, a lot of things unfold when you start talking about things. Your motivation, your priorities, and yeah, it's all there. Waiting.
Yeah, sure. One of my teaching beliefs is that you remember and you learn more when you, reflect it on yourself and everything, every vocabulary, every, I don't know, grammar that you come across. You need to get through that lens of reflection for you. And actually, I see that in the students of mine. Then I ask them some questions using anything that we learned, and they are reflective, like self-reflecting questions. They're like, "Oh my god, I have never thought of that." So yeah, that's definitely it's for me. I just understood that. For me, learning languages is also about understanding myself better. And it actually, I think, can show the different sides of your personality through lens of different languages. So I see some of my sides in Spanish, I see some of my sides in English, and I think you also saw something new from Indonesian.
Definitely. Yes.
Speaking of socializing, sorry for that question, but where can we find you? Would you share with us some links?
Absolutely. Yes. You can find me everywhere.
Love is in the air.
Look under the bed, I'm there.
No, like,
Okay, we don't need to know that side of your relationship, girls. No.
Ksusha, I told you to stay secret and not share
We'll
it.
cut it out, don't worry. We have the editor.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, God. It's Capo Felti. I I blog about English language teaching. I blog about my language learning. I blog about things that work in my classroom, things that don't work in my classroom. So if you are a teacher, check my social media out. I would be happy to meet you over there. Yeah. Thank you very much.
See you.
Thank you for
Thank
that
you.
Thank you
amazing
so
talk. It
much.
was great. Yes.
Yes, thank
Ladies,
you.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Have a good one.